I have been looking for a video on this for about a week now. Someone was talking about this on a stream about a week ago, and that is the fact that the new Xbox console, we already talked about it, that it's supposed to have Windows on it. And then someone in my chat was posting rumors that it actually was not just going to have Windows on it, but because it was going to have Windows on it, it was also going to have Steam on it. And this kind of made sense because, well, if they're putting Windows on it, they would have Steam on it, and the ultimate goal was to sell more Game Pass. It's a super interesting concept, and finally someone, Mr. Matty Plays, has a video on it with the title of Xbox is doing something unthinkable. He's been crushing the videos lately, so let's hear what he has to say about it, and I'll give you my opinion as we dive through.
Congratulations, everybody. It is Matty here today. I hope you're all doing absolutely excellent. Today, I'm sporting a little bit of green because we are talking about the green team. We're talking about Xbox.
Green
Look,
team.
I've been covering Xbox for about, it's crazy to say,
I'm not in the corner.
a decade now. And in that time, I would say that this is the most busy they have ever been. It feels like every week.
Dude, it's so, just in April alone, they have South of Midnight, which comes out the same day that Warzone launches in early access. I don't know when we're going to play that one. Expedition 33, that one I think I'm just going to do a review on because it's supposed to be this massive game. And then Doom in May. Like, it's wild.
There's a new announcement, a new leak, a new game, something happening. And unless you are deeply submerged in gaming culture,
and then Call of Duty, like Call of Duty is Xbox too.
Impossible to keep up with, and for many people to just react in time before the next set of news comes in. But today, we're talking about a wee bit of a leak that happened over at Xbox, indicating some changes to their PC app. And naturally, based on the story we had covered from Jez Corden about Xbox's new platform plans for 2027 and how Windows would be at the center of a gaming console, this does start to paint a picture of whatever's happening on PC will eventually affect the console space. And in particular here with the shared libraries vision that Xbox has, what that can unlock for players, I think will, number one, save us a lot of money. And number two, potentially have a piece of hardware where just everything is available. And in turn, with Steam.
Like, this is huge, right? And also, there's a little bit of hidden information here and reason as to why Xbox would want Steam on it. And I want you to try to figure it out. I don't know if Matty's going to say it. Someone said it in my stream, and it's a huge point. And I think the real reason why.
Being able to circumnavigate PlayStation. There's a lot of business strategy going on here that I want to get into when it comes to the Xbox platform. So we're going to talk about that leak. We're also going to talk about the slew of games coming out in April briefly in an effort to put a bow on the whole story, because what you're seeing here is a rapid firing Xbox, and they've dropped enough news and announcements and crazy moments to last us a year, and it's just about to be April. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome. If you're new here, you're into what's going on with Xbox, consider subscribing. Anyway, what you're seeing on screen
was a weird transition. I think there was supposed to be music.
Doors.
Maybe it got copyrighted.
Xbox. This is the new potential layout for Xbox games on
Okay, it looks somewhat similar to the current app.
PC, but wait, what's that where the red arrow is pointing? That's right. Next to Game Pass, you see Steam. Now, this was caught by The Verge, and they put up an article saying, here's the Steam on Xbox evidence Microsoft didn't want you to see. They write, while the image appears to be a mock-up with owned games listed twice, as well as action-adventure titles, I don't think the Steam label here is necessarily a mistake. Sources familiar with Microsoft's plans tell me that the company is currently working on an Xbox app update that will show every game you have installed on your PC. That includes games from Steam and Epic Game Store, and I understand Microsoft will label these games.
This is smart. Not only because, like, just for usability, right? Like, let's say you have all your Steam games. Okay, well, you can't play your Epic games on there. Well, let's say you have Steam. You can't play your Game Pass games on there. But if Xbox makes an app where you can play your Game Pass games, but you can also access and launch all your Steam games and your Epic games and maybe your Ubisoft games and every other launcher's games, smart.
Accordingly, I'm told Microsoft is still in the early stages of this Xbox app update, so the company might never ship the feature to list all your Steam games, but this mocked up image shows how they might eventually show up. Xbox chief Phil Spencer has also previously hinted that PC stores like Epic Game Store and itch.io could one day arrive on Xbox consoles. So the first question is, like, what's happening here? It's very basic in that, we've seen GOG do a similar thing where you have like all of the games on your PC in one library. And GOG, because of their focus on like game preservation, and I love what they're doing there, is starting to grow them even more as a prominent PC storefront. Xbox has been trying to crack the code for that for a while, and it's hilarious because we're talking about Xbox like there's some indie startup, but their PC app has been terrible for a long time. Everything from originally install time.
I feel like it's gotten slightly better lately since they have pushed further into Game Pass. I have had less issues with it. There's still problems for sure, especially with your account management. But I feel like it's slightly better.
Times to navigation, to bugs, getting separate SKUs in the Game Pass app versus what you'd get on, say, Steam, where some games are just busted on Game Pass compared to what you would actually get on Steam. So yeah, it was just like a really weird mixed bag where I, like many other people, just avoid it like the plague. If I see PC Game Pass, I'm like, yeah, maybe on Steam, I'll just buy that. That's kind of what it does for me personally. So Xbox has heard that feedback, and for years now, we've heard that they're investing big in overhauling the UI, the user experience as well, making sure navigation's smoother, that it doesn't crash all the time, that install times are not a problem. Like, things that make it, at least a somewhat attractive option. But this is one piece of the plan, including your entire library there. However, with Xbox, as we've been
his transitions 100% got copyrighted because I don't know why they're silent.
Talking about these last few weeks,
been there.
I don't think it just stops there. But hey,
it.
You can access and see everything here. But really, that as we read in the 2027 plans from Jez Corden for Xbox's next generation consoles, whatever happens on PC absolutely will influence what's happening on
this is
Xbox
the cool part. This is the cool part
because Xbox wants Windows to be the center of their next console.
Okay, so take the Play Anywhere, Xbox Play Anywhere PC app. That's what they're going to try to put everywhere, on their consoles, on their handhelds, on everything. So just keep that in mind, which means if Steam's on that, Steam's on everything.
And so if that is the case, then whatever's happening here on PC, again, will carry over to console space. Why is that important? Because what we're seeing here is potentially Xbox trying to integrate major PC storefronts into their console experience, where there is a world potentially where you can access your Steam games from your Xbox. And the question with all of that has been,
because at that point they're just making a PC that runs the software that Xbox runs that incorporates Steam, right? It's the same as making a PC, but that only works for certain things.
Well, how does Xbox make money off of all of this? Like, if you're buying games from the Steam storefront, but you bought Xbox hardware, why does this matter to Xbox? Well, you have to remember, this is a monthly active users and engagement driven company. If you are using their Xbox and they get to use Steam numbers and Epic Game Store numbers, maybe even GOG numbers, they get to use all these storefronts to bloat the engagement numbers. The investors are going to pay out. They're like, hey, the plan is working, the transition's working, gaming's never been better, and Xbox will just continue to hide things.
I am not going to lie. If I can buy a handheld and a console that plays everything that I have and Game Pass, that's a mighty thing. And keep in mind that Maddie hasn't said it yet, but right now Xbox games are coming to PlayStation. PlayStation games are not coming to Xbox, but where are they going? They're going to Steam, which means if you can play them on Steam, you'll be able to play them on new Xbox. Ooh.
Like sales numbers and just live off of engagement numbers. But this also isn't just like victories in a corporate environment. I do think, just given where Xbox is going, this is kind of the best you can get out of the situation. If I had a piece of hardware that functioned like a console, because I like to game on my couch, for example, or game in a comfy chair, I would love it if I could access all of my games.
Okay, I'll give you a perfect example of this. So there's certain games, Call of Duty being one of them, where I like to sit at my desk and I'm gonna go hard. Like we're getting in there hard. And then there's games like, what comes to mind? South Park Stick of Truth, maybe that Expedition 33 game that's coming out, or even like an Assassin's Creed where it's a couch game. Like I'm just gonna sit there, I'm gonna lay there with a box of pizza beside me and just clickety clack away and hammer through that game. It's different. It's a different setting, and if you can play everything the same on my PC, super high gaming hardware, as something that maybe I don't need to record in my setup, and I can just move it around. I can be like, oh, I'm sick this week. I'm going to move this box up to my bedroom, hook it up to the TV, and guess what? I can play anything that I would play at my desk, I can play there. Woo!
I end up going with like streaming handhelds because I'll stream stuff from my PC because I already work here all the time. I'm already here like 10 hours a day. I don't want to also game here all the time as much as I love my chair.
He gets
I don't
it.
want to game here all the time. So if Xbox gave me the option of like, hey, that thing on Steam, like you can still play it on your hardware and it's just going to be on like a TV or something, I think that'll, number one, crack open a bunch of storefronts and get Xbox to where they want to be, which is like on a ton of different screens. But also for the consumer, you get to win in the situation of like, let's say you buy that 2027 Xbox console.
It's super consumer friendly, right? Super, like almost overly, to the point where the past years we're like, what is Xbox doing here? This is what Xbox is doing here.
You have a moment here where when you take that thing out of the box, I mean, look, guilty as charged with buying a lot of games on the Steam sale. So I have like hundreds of games in my Steam library. Between that and my digital Xbox library, I now have so many things to play.
I have everything.
And this can kind of start to counter a little bit of what Xbox has fought an uphill battle for. Remember, the thing they've said and just been on their back about constantly is, oh my gosh, we lost the worst generation we could have ever lost. Everyone committed to their digital libraries. And so they just ended up on this losing path continuously. Where
Dude, this
no
is
matter
so
what
smart.
they
What
did
Maddie's
in their
saying
eyes,
here is
they
so
were not bringing
smart.
people over. They remained deeply ingrained.
Oh, we lost the digital library. How about we just use every digital library on our console?
in
What an
their
answer.
Ecosystems.
Yeah, something off.
So now
transition.
you get to the point where you start to see their plan come full circle. You bring the ecosystems to Xbox and you just start to open up the entire playing field. And in turn, while I don't think PlayStation will ever play ball with Xbox, now you start to get a situation where Xbox can start to have PlayStation games on their systems.
There it is.
Because if PlayStation is, as we've been seeing, pushing more and more toward day-and-date PC game releases, where it's not just the console, now if things are dropping on Steam, Xbox effectively gets PlayStation games day one. And I have to wonder what the vibe is from PlayStation on all of that. At the end of the day, they still get a cut, but Xbox benefits from their engagement, their
Do you know who the real winner in this is, though? Steam.
games. I don't know. That might shake up the
They're basically having a fight over who, like, it's basically a love triangle with Steam being at the peak and these two just fighting over it to both be able to use it. Steam is just like, poof. Anyone can have it. Because guess what? If it's on Xbox and you buy a game on Steam, guess who makes the money? Steam.
competition in a way that we'll just have to wait and see and how that plays out. There's been speculation online. I saw people saying like PlayStation's going to block them, but I was like, I don't know if that's really possible. I think that's really up to Steam, and Steam is going to want to make money off PlayStation games. So I don't know what they're going to do, but this reminds me a little bit of when PlayStation was blocking off Fortnite crossplay, and they received so much public pressure that they just like had to give in to that crossplay
I forgot about
system.
that.
And so I think about the same thing here, where Xbox is putting PlayStation potentially in a position where it's like, wait, you don't want to make money? Come on, bro. And I wonder if the public pressure, if PlayStation were to try to pull out or pull something to keep Xbox gamers from experiencing PlayStation games on their hardware, if that would be a situation where PlayStation would see so much public pressure that it ends up that like they'd have to cave anyway. Given what I've seen from Hiroki Totoki, I get the vibe
What a
that they
name
would
every
just
time I
happily
hear
make their
that.
money and just be kind of whatever about it and just continue to embrace a exclusive ecosystem on PlayStation. But where Xbox is going, a lot of the success does hinge on Steam's willingness to play ball. Like if Xbox can say, hey, we have like Windows here on our Xbox hardware, and so we can host all these storefronts. I wonder how Steam plays ball. Steam does have big picture where it can kind of function well in that sort of console interface. You obviously have the Steam Deck, so we've seen like the user experience for Steam works really well with like a controller in your hand now.
It does.
It's all coming together. Very curious to see how this ends up.
Also, with the tech of the Nintendo Switch having the mouse on the as a part of the controller, I wonder if anyone else adopts anything like that. That's interesting.
At the same time, there is also a Xbox UI update that Tom Warren was showing off a bit. Now, when you're on the Xbox homepage and you click on a game, it gives you all of your stats. It gives you your play time. It gives you your...
Also, if they implement, so I think the trophy system is better than the gamer score system at this point, but imagine if the Xbox trophy or achievement or gamer score system was implemented now with your Steam games, because that's my biggest complaint about Steam is the achievements don't feel great. But if I can take my Steam games, play them on my Xbox, and somehow get gamer score for them, oh my god.
Achievements, it lets you go to the store page, it lets you manage it, and so now it's an extra A button to play a game. Some people have been like, I don't like that there's an extra A button here, but personally, as someone who is pretty critical of the current Xbox dashboard, like it's just a bunch of tiles scattered everywhere, sometimes navigating the
go back to the 360 dashboard, baby.
Everywhere. I kind of like that when I click on a game, I just get this hub of options that are available to me that can get me to sub options that I'm typically digging for and that are sometimes a pain in the butt to get to. Or I can just click A again and play the game, and it's like an extra half a second. I see some people complaining about it. I don't have a big issue about that. But again, this is to my point about the flurry of changes Xbox is just bringing everyone's way, where I think they're trying to smother the audience strictly because they've given so much room for reaction and feedback that I think they're just trying to steamroll. Like, this is where we're going. We're not changing course. We're not changing direction. Like, this is what we're doing. We're fully committing to it. And so we're going to say things like, hey, Xbox Copilot for Gaming, it's out now. Hey, Muse, try it out. It's out now. They're going to say all these things, but they're being released in such a rapid fire manner. I'm like, how is Xbox collecting data for all of these at the same time, despite the size of Microsoft as a whole? I'm like, how are you collecting data for all of this and iterating? We've seen how slow things have been for just the PC app updates. So I think Xbox is just in full steamroll mode, and they just want to smother you with things so that you're not able to pay attention to any one thing, quite like they've been in that position in the past, such as with something like Redfall, or the delays of major Bethesda games, or studio shutdowns. Xbox is just a fish out of water where they're not having any games coming out. They have nothing but bad news surrounding them. This changes that direction dramatically, and I do believe it's intentional, because then you look at what is happening in April. As I talked about in our Oblivion
this
remake
is where
video,
it gets crazy.
April
Well, listen to
has
this.
South of Midnight, Expedition 33, a day one Game Pass game. Forza Horizon 5 is going to PS5. Towerborn's another day one.
I don't know that one.
Game. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle was just confirmed for April 17th.
For PlayStation.
And it is still rumored, but yet to be confirmed, that an Oblivion remake is dropping this April.
In April.
Famously on Defining Duke, I define this sort of moment as a shotgun blast, but I think it's just a whole on avalanche. Like, this is just so much content.
And then May is Doom.
And this is the opposite of what Xbox has been for a while. Something my co-host Lord Cognito has said frequently on Defining Duke is simply this, that when you look at a PlayStation or a Nintendo, they're just as guilty of making bad, boneheaded business decisions or having colossal failures that blow up in their face, but right around the corner is always
Wait. Does Nintendo? Like, what's the last, like, big blow up in your face decision that Nintendo made? Good question. You answer it in the comments. I don't know, but just
it starts to take that.
I can't think of one.
I think the best example, if we were to use PlayStation, is Concord comes out. It is arguably the most spectacular failure we have seen in gaming history.
It's one of them.
But funny enough, what's right there a little bit later, but Astrobot, who won Game of the Year.
I know why there's the gaps in the video. He did those, and this is nothing against him. He did those so that ads will play because of the new update that YouTube did. They only put in ads when there's an actual gap in the talking or anything like that. And but now I have YouTube Premium, so that's why it sounds weird. I wonder if it did better for him. I don't know. I find that sort of thing fascinating. If you're a YouTuber, a video creator, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not, you think I'm crazy right now. But that's why they're there. I was trying to figure it out.
And right away, it takes a lot of that noise away. People are still talking about Concord, but it does dumb things down. Xbox frequently, especially 2022 being the best example of it, you delay Redfall, you delay Starfield. It's just a year of nothing except Pentiment and Grounded, which are fantastic games, but not like what you bought your Xbox console for 2 years into the life cycle to have nothing happening. And when games aren't happening, your news starts to take over as the defining factor of your console more than the actual games and the releases themselves. So when you round it all up, you have Xbox PC app changes, Copilot for Gaming, Muse, a ton of games, Developer Direct. We are only a couple months into the year, and I just look at it as like a way to control the storm a bit by just giving people so many things that it's just like, I'm here to consume at the end of the day. That's all I can afford to do right now. Y'all do whatever you want to do with the platform. However, I do think it goes one layer deeper. Something I briefly touched on is how Xbox, after Call of Duty came out, didn't see major movement in the ways that I think many Xbox fans were expecting.
They still have like 34 million Game Pass subscribers, I think.
Them to on the financial front. Here from Insider Gaming, we see that Microsoft's Q2 2025 report, which is October to December.
I was going to say, which is actually Q4.
24. So this is the window you get your holiday push, your holiday sales, your holiday deals. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 commits to day one in Game Pass. You have Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, a phenomenal video game coming out in December. You have lots of things surrounding it. Microsoft Flight Simulator, although it was a really big bomb at launch, still a big IP, like a lot of big stuff coming out.
I didn't play that one.
Period, this fall period. So what do you get? They say cut to the chase. Key points for Xbox Q2 2025 are gaming revenue declines by 7%, content and services revenue grows by 2%,
so that's Game Pass,
and hardware revenue declines by 29%.
So that's
which to me, I look at that.
So that they're looking at that and like, how can we improve that with the thing that we're doing? Well, if you make Steam available on all of your hardware, because Steam, this is the numbers that keep going up. And I truly believe if you have like the handheld and the console where you can play all of your games on them, dude.
And I go, that's grim. You commit to Call of Duty being day one on Game Pass. It is apparently the most successful launch in Call of Duty history, but your content and services revenue only moves 2% when Call of Duty is surrounded by very compelling, well-marketed software and familiar IP. Your gaming revenue goes down because less people are playing on your hardware, and naturally we know ever since April of last year, the hardware continues to decline. Where
and it's going to keep until they put out something new.
This particular quarter,
for sure,
by the Nintendo Switch in the
like
final
hands
year
down
of its life cycle. I don't say this to be a Debbie Downer, but it depicts a pretty grim picture where I could see investors looking at this and going, "Y'all just put the #1 game in console gaming on your
and that's Call of Duty,
and it moved the needle by 2%."
Which is wild.
People are still buying it on PlayStation. Like, what are y'all going to do with that? You're still going to make money, but your revenue is down still. Your gaming revenue is down. What are we going to do about that? Then you look at April. You look at everything that happened before April. You're like, oh, it starts to make a...
But like, are those games, like, because they're day one Game Pass games, are they going to move the needle more than a Call it? I doubt it.
A lot more sense how much more engagement they are trying to drive. They do not care about what is good for your schedule. They want to get your dollar some way, somehow. And so this is how they plan to do it. And while none of this is like official reporting, it's just my speculation based on the facts we have, I feel like it lines up really well, given the position that Xbox is in. So we'll see in due time how things end up, but I do find Xbox's push into the next generation just really accelerating hardcore, because I think when you look ahead to things like that partner handheld, they need to have their Xbox PC app up to date. Whatever change they're making, like, that needs to be good to go. Obviously, Nintendo Direct right around the corner. I
wonder when they're going to announce this stuff. The Nintendo Direct is going to be interesting. I think it's like next week.
I think Xbox is going to be a big presence there. It's time to pull the Band-Aid off of a lot of things. Start making multi-platform like a big part of your identity. This is a place to really make that statement. So again, I'm totally expecting them to continue to have their literal foot on the gas, pedal down to the floor, and we'll see where this ride takes us by the end of 2025. I mean, look at 2024. It was such a year of rapid change for Xbox. So 2025, who knows where the hell we're gonna be by December of this year. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with all of this. You let me know your thoughts down below. Other than that, take excellent care of yourselves.
I'll do my best.
I will see you in the next one. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.
I am very, very glad that he put that video together, because I hadn't seen like an actual good, well talked out, put together video about this, with the Steam talking about the PlayStation games coming to Xbox in that manner, and then what the plans are moving forward. It's great, super well put together, and I agree with pretty much everything that he's saying there. Great video. Go check his channel out. As always, like, I always link the original videos down in the description if you didn't know that.